Hello everyone, welcome back to good old Gelvin Valley. We are doing a little evening fertilization, continuing from where we left off in the last episode. It's dusk and I'm finding myself wishing I had taken a round, kind of around the map as I come up to each edge here. And, I don't have that much left here. Hopefully I have just enough to finish this particular field. May have to get the trailer out here to refill, but that's all right. Anyway, we're enjoying Gelvin Valley for Farm Sim 15, Wild Wild Wes's masterpiece. Still enjoying it after all these years. As I record this, of course, we are still in 2025, and I don't know, 10 years ago, I don't think I would have imagined I'd still be playing on it 10 years after, but what can I say? It's a captivating map. We're, like I say, doing a little fertilizing, and I'm realizing it's kind of hard to see where we're going with the way the foliage is, the textures with chops on, but that's all right. I think with the help of GPS, and next time I think I'm definitely going to take a round around the edge of the field, because it's a little tough coming in on the edges here to get full coverage. But we are making do. Yes, we are. Let's see, can I get the whole... Yeah, the shadows are such that... Yeah, there's one more along the edge here. Let's see if I can get in there. There's probably some skips here and there, but, it'll be close enough. In real life, I know that... Oh, okay, I was pressing back. Honest, the brakes. As Russell would say, brakes just kind of get in the way, or however you say it, Russell. Alright, so we got this field done. We will head on out, and that's 23. We'll head up to 22 and just kind of continue on. The nice thing about fertilizing, of course, is that it doesn't take very long to go over a field, and we make a lot of progress, unlike the combining, which was going forever and ever. It felt like, I'm sure. Turn downhill, and yeah, there's our faithful tag-along trailer over here. So while we're down here, we'll just go ahead and fill up with fertilizer, and then we'll head to the other fields. Let me see, is that close enough? Very good. It's weird. When I click way out here, how come I still hear the sound of the reverse? Okay, now I want this to come along, but usually Control F. Okay, he's gonna follow him, and we'll see if he can navigate that. Yeah, he made the corner just fine. Well, it's mid-evening here. I wanted to record just before I went to bed another night. I've been working a lot of hours here late, and today, ordinarily, my office here in town is just a little ways away from where I live, about 5 miles. And today I spent most of the day kind of up in the greater Portland area, Portland being the largest city to the north, visiting a new client and getting acquainted with them. and learning their business. And so, you know, I'm an introvert, so when I go through a day where there's lots of talking to people, that's hard on people like me. So, so I come and sit down here and talk to you all, and it just feels different, I guess, because I can't see any of you. Fair enough, huh? But they're going through this particular entity. They're going through an owner transition, and you know, I got to be careful what I say. There are confidentiality things that I would never divulge on here about our customers and everything. I just make an observation, just like I have, you know, with many clients over many years of being in the business that I am, and seeing human nature on display. And like this particular entity is like I mentioned, going through an owner transition. And for, I don't know how long it was, the existing owner team, maybe a couple decades, single decade, I don't remember, a substantial period of time, you know, where this group of men have worked together. And when you work closely with someone, I mean, there are friendships usually. Otherwise, you know, you wouldn't be in business with someone. And you're brothers in arms, so to speak. You pull for the team, the brand, however you want to put it. It's all about the company, and one for all for one. But something happens when you leave that circle and try to get bought out. And it's just interesting to see how those dynamics change when there are different things planned for life, and people you've been friends with. Now, when you try to boil everything that you've worked together on, when you try to boil it down to dollars and cents, it's just fascinating to me what happens to people. And I don't mean anything good or bad by that. It's just interesting, and it's here, let me go around on this field here. Front and back. And I'm almost regretting leasing this thing. Maybe I should have done the cultivating first so I could see better where the sandhill I'm going. Anyway, I think we most intuitively know that this, when money's involved and we stand on a different side or have a different position from someone else than maybe we're used to, there are interesting interactions that, you know, will take place in that dynamic that can be hurtful, that maybe are foreign to the working relationship that maybe a group of people previously enjoyed. Questions on motives, and it's amazing how quickly some of those interactions can get tough and be troublesome and those kinds of things. And maybe, you know, it's no different in many ways from marriage. You know, this person you're married to, it's the closest person to your inner soul, you know, the one you've shared everything with. And then when something happens and the relationship tears apart, it just hurts so bad. And I say that only because I've witnessed others, you know, having gone through it. Haven't been through it myself. Hope to never, you know, have to experience it. You know, it's just terrible. And I wonder if it, there's a proverb in the Bible. I can't quote it quite right, but that's too much. It rings really true for this. It says something about a brother offended is harder to be won than a fenced city. Something like that. And you say, well, why would that be? Well, maybe it's assumptions we make. We just count on the other person to accept us exactly as we are. Even if we've never talked about it in those terms, it's just, hey, we're close. It's me, you can't be feeling this way towards me, or, impugn my motives, or question what I'm doing. We got history, and it's these assumptions we make, I think, in human relationships, that can get us in trouble or cause some of these issues. So, I don't know. It's just a fascinating thing to watch, from a business perspective, and I'm an independent observer of this, I guess I would say. If you serve a business or a group of people to try to counsel them and help them, you kind of, they're in the driver's seat, but to be present to kind of help them get along, help them with whatever. It's a curious place to be in. But even in that, I'm part of an accounting firm. I have the same dynamic ahead of me. And it just makes me think, what kind of person am I going to be when it's my turn to retire, to get out? What are my expectations? And what I'm learning is, it's better to lay those on the table sooner rather than later. So that, when you get to the end, everybody knows what's going to happen. There's agreement, and it can happen peacefully. What's so sad sometimes, and I know I've shared some of those instances on here, is relationships just can be destroyed over these kinds of things, or maybe the relationship never was very good to begin with, and this just exacerbates it. Families torn apart, over some of these things. It's sad. And so, to try to avoid some of those heartaches, it makes a person ask themselves, well, how should I be in that? So, anyway, I'm kind of revealing a little as to kind of what my day consisted of, just in observing some of that. And it was an interesting day. I tried to help our client, as best I could, but honestly, I consider myself as having been in the classroom, mainly just observing some of these things and hopefully learning, so that as I advise other customers of our firm or whatever, I learn these lessons to try to help others and my own self. Hey, where are we going to next? Over to 21. Okay, I think that's right down over here. By the way, I think I mentioned that I put the whole map in the editor and tried to fix the edges, so hopefully they're turn around. Okay, this here. Well, let me, go around this edge. Probably wasting a bunch, but it's hard to be helped. I know in a Farm Sim 19 save that I have, there was a mod. I almost think it was precision farming that would control your fertilizer spreader so that it only put on exactly what was needed. So, kind of like when you plant seed in here, the planter only uses seed and plants it where there isn't seed already. Now, some of that is just how the game is set up, I realize. But I think that's something precision farming also can impact. Yeah, this is definitely showing the edge I worked on. I tried. I wanted to keep as much of it as I could. But yeah, I think it's a little bit better. Who knows? Turn the corner. I don't know. This is going to be revealing when I get the cultivator in here and see how many misses I have in the fertilizer. I'm also noticing there are no wheel tracks. At least I'm not seeing any from the harvest. I'm putting in wheel tracks, that I'm putting in here now as I fertilize. But I'm kind of wondering where they all went for, that's really curious. I wonder if taking the map into the editor or the texture files, maybe I goobered something up. Yeah, this has my fixes along the edge. Just tried to tidy things up a little bit. Keep the edge of the field out of the fence posts. But yeah, I would have thought all of the, oh shoot, that's probably a little too wide. Oh my goodness, I wonder how much I'm missing. I'm doubling it up here in a lot of areas. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it this way. Oh my goodness. Yeah, see, I can't hardly tell where... Oh goodness, and I gotta use up my... Nope, not the outway. Here we go. I gotta use up my 3.5 hours of rental, so I probably can get through most of the fertilizing, unfortunately. But anyway. Well, I've been meaning to have an episode in here too. It's now winter, almost winter, as I record this, and something I've wanted to share. I remember, if you watch these episodes, I shared at length about a special train place that some of us in our family went to, miniature trains, that is. There also is something else this past summer that I attended that I just love going to, and it had been a few years since I was able to do it, and I was glad to have taken time to do it this past summer. And it's old stuff. A lot of people in the game here, they like playing with mods, maybe of a certain era. Some of it's nostalgia. It's what they remember working with, maybe if they worked on the farm. It's maybe what they grew up with, all sorts of reasons. And there is something within the heart of a lot of us, let me turn this off, to have an appreciation for old machines, things of the past, its history, a type of history. And it is just awesome to go to a place where this is celebrated. And goodness knows, there's all sorts of old things in life, if you will. And of course, some things are going to be more of interest to a person than other things. Totally get all that. But for those of us, that enjoy farming, it's fascinating to see many of those old machines and, to admire and appreciate the engineering of the people who put it together before and see how they did it. At least I find it fascinating. And here close by from our home, it's maybe a 20-minute drive, is a place called Antique Powerland, or at least that's what it was called when I was a kid. I'm not sure exactly what it's called anymore. Sometimes it's been called a steam up because, of course, they have steam engines. Steam and agriculture has a rich heritage and past, both here and in other nations. And so there's that there, but just so many things. And so there's a local place, like I say, about a 20-minute drive, where they have these every summer. They have a steam up, or that's sometimes what it's called, where they bring out this old machinery. Not only do they display it, but they actually use it. And sometimes the use is, just moderate. It's like in the form of a parade. They'll drive it by so everybody can see it. An announcer will describe what it is, when it was manufactured, how it was used, how much horsepower it has, all sorts of details for that kind of enthusiast. But just a fascinating day to see all these machines. And you got to add all the way from a parade to seeing it, used. Sometimes they'll call this, like a threshing bee. Where they'll use an old stationary thresher, just like they had back in the day, where they cut bundles or sheaves of grain in the fields, and a group of guys haul them in on a bundle rack and feed this big old machine, stationary thresher, and they, cut the grain, or harvest the grain rather, in the way that they did it in the past. Alright, next field will be 18, I guess. Is that, or wait a minute. Sure, why not? Why not? We'll head to the big field. So I went there this year. I've worked a ton of Saturdays, kind of just in my job. So one particular Saturday, I still had to go into the office and put some, maybe I'll talk about this. I really don't have too much time left on here, but I did it before I headed out to go see the steam up. Maybe I'm sorry, I'm changing gears here. In our office this past summer, we have 2 suites where I work, and let's see, make sure I get the right entrance. And the back suite had these signs on the door, or these places where you could insert a plate that had a person's name. And I think the former tenant used these, and we've just never had names on the door until this past summer. And most of the doors in the second suite had it, and at one point during the year, I don't remember, I finally dug out a ruler, measured the things, and ordered a plate for one of my partners, who has the office right next to mine. And I got this, it's kind of a gold-plated looking thing, and it has his full name on it, not his middle name, but first and last. And we just we look at it there for a while and see if we like the style or whatever on it, and people seem to like it, so I ordered as many as I could for everybody, all the management team in the south wing, that we have, or the second suite. Oh, and by the way, I am seeing wheel tracks again. Oh, anyways, glad to see I didn't destroy all of them. So anyway, then I got the brainy idea that this could be everyone. It wouldn't have to be just the management team, because I think deep down everybody likes seeing their name on the door. I remember hearing someone say one time, I don't know who said this, it's kind of a quotable quote, but it's kind of like, there is no sound so sweet to the human ear than the sound of your own name, when someone else says it. And don't our ears, perk up when you hear your name and you wonder what someone is saying? Hopefully it's something positive. Anyway, I think it's something similar. I'd be curious anybody's comments on this. I think it's something similar when you see your name in print on a door and you say, or on your cubicle, whatever it is, on your space, and you say, that's my space and this is my company, and have a feeling of ownership of the work that you're doing, standing behind your name, so that it represents something of quality, a reflection of the person to which it belongs. I don't know, there was just a whole lot of thoughts that came to mind, and I don't know, I'm an introspective person usually, and most of the time I tend to probably overthink things, honestly. But I don't know, I was just ruminating on this kind of all summer long, or all spring rather, and then decided to go ahead and get it for everybody in the firm, including clear to the receptionist. Now, our receptionist doesn't have a cubicle, there's no door, so I had to figure out something for them. There's 3 of them up front who don't really have a door or something, so I got them a plate to put on their desk, with their names. And sometimes at some of our offices we had a couple people that shared it, so I had special brackets made that would hold, at least 2 names. We have a set of cubicles, so some people were there. I had to figure out a special hanger to sit in there that would also hold these name brackets or whatever. Anyway, I had a lot of fun figuring it out, and then I ordered it, and my favorite part was finding a local company. Some of the first stuff that I did was through the internet. Now, let me see, can I set up? Yeah, that ought to work. Except I have already done it along here, I think, so I'll hate to spread anymore till I get to about here. Anyway, I'd done it on the internet, and unbeknownst to me, the brackets that I had seen on our doors were non-standard. How was I supposed to know that 1 3/4 by 10 inches is non-standard? I looked high and low on the internet. I spent I don't know how many hours looking, and all I could find was 1.5 inches by 10 inches or 2 inches by 10 inches. Good grief. Well, come to find out, I finally said, you know what? I can't find it on the internet. I'm going to try to go local. So I stopped by several local businesses to see if they would have this. Nobody did until I finally landed on one who was able to help me. And so, yeah, you look around the office and some of the names are different sizes on the plates. Unfortunately, nobody has taken that to mean anything more than it does, which is nothing. Meaning the guy trying to figure it out didn't know there was certain standard sizes or whatever. So, alright, let's head to town with this guy. But anyway, I got all that. There was a huge box I picked up at this company to have all these brackets and plates. And one Saturday, I came in. It was in the middle of summer. Everybody was gone. And I just went to town on the doors and everywhere. Set it all up. Put up the names. Like that. Is it down here? We go. Oh, forevermore. I can't even find the entrance. I was headed to the entrance, then got distracted. So, I mean, for the one suite, I had to put up, brackets and plates where none had ever been. So, I mean, I had to tape measure out. I should have taken a drill. I did it all by hand the hard way. I was literally sweating, just trying to put screws in the wall to hold these brackets up and everything. But I gotta say, I was very pleased with the result, and I gotta say it made, and I got some pleasant remarks from a lot of people that enjoyed seeing their names there. And so I don't know, I hope it's something that pays dividends. And when I say pays dividends, I mean it isn't cheap. These, I'm pretty sure we spent $1,000. So it was spendy. That's at least a lot of money to me. And it wasn't just my money to spend. I don't think I've ever used that entrance to the field before. But anyhow, the bell is rung, and of course, just to close the loop, after I put up all those names and brackets is when I headed out to Antique Powerland. So maybe in the next episode I can start sharing more about what happens at Antique Powerland. It's something to visit about. So thank you so much for coming along to watch this little episode. Hope everybody's doing well, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.